unfiled taxes? Are you overwhelmed and stressed? Boxes of paper, lost documents, disorganized, confused, don't know where to start? We do. Call Mark Feldstein Chartered Professional Accountants. We deal with this every day. It's never too late. Start sleeping at night. Call Mark Feldstein Chartered Professional Accountants now, or visit markfeldstein.ca. markfeldstein.ca.
Still to come on 680 News, a collision on the southbound 400 approaching King Road.
Oh yeah, it's an interesting news day.
Does your air conditioner own you? Buy a cooling protection plan from Enercare and get 4 months free. Terms and conditions apply. Enercare, your home whispers. I gotta tell you, Bob, ever since I found out about Good Food's ready-to-cook meals that they deliver right to your door, I feel a lot less pressure when barbecuing. How so? Every week they have 30 new recipes to choose from, and they practically themselves. Now everyone thinks I'm the barbecue king. Boy, those portobello burgers sure smell good. Hey, I've totally taken my barbecue game to the next level.
Eating is home. Visit goodfood.ca. Details on goodfood.ca. Together for Lexus of Richmond Hill, up to go to Chopper 680 years. Southbound 400 approaching King Road. 2 left lanes remain blocked up. All these collision cleanup. This should be gone relatively soon. They hooked up the last car. All the other cars have been towed away. This one is on the back of it right now, so it should be gone soon. And it's just emergency crews left over from that one car. So I guess this should hopefully be gone soon, but it is a jam solid. Southbound 400 seen crawling back from just south the highway into approaching King Road. The crash is just before this long-term construction in the area.
2 full minutes just to type in a code. Wow. YouTube, why do I have to do that every time? Why do you do that every fucking setting?
Weston is getting quite heavy now.
Up from the west and approaching the west and down
it's still very heavy approaching King Road, so it's getting slower and slower, but both of them are still far better than the southbound 400 because it's just 3 lanes of just jam-packed crawling traffic, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, it sounds like 400.
400 is slow south of Shepherd to the eastbound 401 ramp. The 680 traffic center, here's Kyle Hawking. We're getting some lane realignment overnight on the eastbound 401 between the 400 and Kiel and the Express, so traffic heavier than usual from south of Pearson to Kiel.
We're driving along in the lanes, not in the same place it was yesterday.
Eastbound 409's heavy Martin Grove to the 401 ramp.
I don't
And the
know fucking
westbound 401 heaviest section is from Morris to High Kennedy, alternate Express and collectors. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Assembly May 25th. Metro links will be testing the new Crosstown LRT along Eglinton Avenue East. Find out more at thecrosstown.ca. Next report at 7:51, and with the forecast, here's Jill Taylor.
Well, it's a totally different air mass for us today. You're no longer walking into a wall of humidity. It's a lot more refreshing with the east wind. You certainly don't need the AC. Lots of sunshine today. The guaranteed high 25 tonight.
You certainly don't need the AC, right? So these people think you turn it on when it's already too hot.
Guaranteed high 25.
And they bitch, and then it doesn't work.
Now the dynamic funds market minute.
What's going on with the 680 business?
It's not.
It's very steady right now. It's really a waiting game because in the next couple of
let's get to the finish line. We're going to get there. We need to get there. We think we can.
It was some of the genesis and inspiration for this. You look at coverage in the States, and I watched.
Investors have a chance to look over interest rates and other items. Well, the markets aren't doing much of anything. The Dow Futures Index right now is up by 2 points. Price for oil up 8 cents, 70.04. Gold is down $16 at 18.79. And our dollar shot at 82.58 cents US. Business Center. I'm Mike Apple.
Think that investment fees are all that matter? Sometimes the quest for wealth isn't so simple. Learn the true value of advice at dynamic.ca/advice.
Yeah, for sure. I also chaired the South Asian COVID Task Force, and the genesis of this was kind of in Peel. And
did you table any items when you chaired the event?
In Peel, particularly in the South Asian community, and any community where there are a lot of essential workers and those workers are, they don't have the privilege of working at home. And they've borne the brunt of the pandemic in terms of,
I'm not 100% sure, but that
just
looks like an
having
interesting
to
combination.
be, in higher risk jobs and having higher risk situations where they're exposed to COVID. And so we've made it a strong effort to go out and make sure that the grassroots organizations that are part of it all are representatives of the different communities, because some of the questions are, quite frankly, there's access issues to information where a particular group or community may not have the same level of access to the information. And that's why our website that we launched the other day, we really tried to make...
You hear this guy tiptoeing around trying to say, oh, it's because you're stupid, because you're this race or that race. But if you ask this guy his apologetics, he doesn't know it. He doesn't know what the word means.
Appeal police say a woman was found shot dead near 9th Line in Burnham Thorpe late last night. There's no word on suspects.
Wheels up for the UK.
So there's a body been found at 9th Line, right on the jurisdictional boundary or something.
The pandemic began.
The province is set to release the latest COVID-19 projections on the eve of its economic reopening. New pandemic modeling will be presented just hours before we enter step 1,
allowing way too much money you don't have.
To reopen.
For these
Eat crappy food that was a crappy idea made by a crappy person. Well, you're drinking crappy beer, but it says local, so you think you're supposed to like it.
Tuesday's Jays lost to the White Sox that had fans going, oh, come on. Last night, Chicago fans were probably saying the same thing. 4 errors, including
the first vaccine you can, but then there was a lot of back and forth. Ontario government, NACI's recommendations. That might have been maybe your biggest frustration point, is reassuring people that these vaccines, no, they're not just safe, they're miraculous.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think you said the last part very well.
Every animal gets COVID now.
Is constantly changing, and I can certainly understand how it's frustrating. And certainly when you're not a doctor and you're trying to convey this information, the community, it's hard for everyone. But I think you said it so well at the end that vaccines are this light. It's the hope that will get us out of this pandemic. And I think the key right now is
it's the light at the end of the tunnel.
The studies have demonstrated that the mixing is safe. And so now in this particular context that we have, I think we're urging Canadians to let's get this final push so we can go back and be together again and enjoy the things we all missed, the dinners.
Is everybody realizing that all the people you thought cared about you didn't?
And really get our country out of this so we're not in a situation with the variants where we're looking at either a 4th wave or another potential lockdown.
Gary, thanks very much for the time. Congratulations on the campaign, and we'll keep pushing. This is our shot. Tell people again quickly where they can go on the web to find you.
For sure. So you said it, so just you can go to thisisourshot.ca. You can get the shirt in 30 languages, all those funds go to the Kids Health Phone. We've raised over $115,000 now for the Kids Health Phone. But all the information related to vaccine FAQs as well as where to book your vaccine is on www.thisisyourshot.ca.
Thanks for doing this for me. Keep it up. Appreciate it.
Okay, take care.
You got it. That is Guri Panu, founder of This Is Our Shot. You can go, as he mentioned, to thisisourshot.ca. All right, new math curriculum coming this September. If you're a teacher, you're well aware of this already. You've got to get retested. They've given you extra time to do so. No better person to break this down. The math educator and the math guru herself, Vanessa Beccaria. She'll join us before top of the hour at 8 o'clock. I want to dive into some of what is slowing us down with reopening and regaining confidence. You'll want that segment front and center. And Bruce,
create the dream home you've always wanted.
Hey, those aren't words.
song they gonna play? It should make it go.
Family, community, and laughter. That's today's best country. Country 840.
Tell them where you reppin'. It's 100 Mile House. This is been a minute. This is the type of crossover shit I'm talking about.
Nowhere to go, nowhere to be, just driving around.
In your fast car.
It's the wrong turn, felt so right. The blind
I know where you go. I know where you go.
the day turned into night. Looked in my eyes, I get somebody.
Damn it, you do the same goddamn thing with the beat. That's what this song should do. I got to get some type of like satellite data hookup with a GoPro on one of those plainclothes police body cameras. No, I'm not even joking. They have body worn cameras for plainclothes police. You know, like all your regular friends in their regular clothes have a camera hanging on a chain, right? No, I got to do something like that. Last night, this morning, I saw a rabbit. Again, more rabbits. And they're not afraid of me. That's the interesting part. They're rabbits growing up in the inner city, and they ain't afraid of shit. Who's sitting there eating grass or something. And just like I could tell he grew up in the hood because he kept looking at me out the corner of his eye, but he didn't flinch or move. Like he didn't back up or nothing. He just made sure that I knew that he knew that I was there.
We've been doing.
Okay, so there's so much to talk about that I'm kind of nervous, but we're going to do it. So the first thing is, I feel very
people on the Zoom court hearing thing yesterday.
To educators and my audience on social media for the past 2 days. There are so many opinions I want to put forward. The first thing is, so cool. We have a new grade 9 math curriculum. And I think what a lot of people don't know, so I really want to start with this.
28.35.
The whole reason that we have it is because up till right now, we have been streaming in grade 9, which means in grade 8, we have been telling certain students, hey, guess what? You don't belong in the regular academic grade 9 math curriculum. A career with math is not for you. We're going to put you in the applied math. That is what's been happening. And you know, we have been saying for a long time, this is not an equitable practice. The people that get put into that applied stream are normally from marginalized populations to start with, or they have behavioral issues or undiagnosed learning disabilities, and they just get shoved into this.
Sometimes they just have black blood.
Now, as someone who owns a tutoring studio, I see these students all the time. They'll show up and they'll say, you know what, my daughter or son has been told to go into applied math, and like, she really wants to be a vet when she grows up, and she's only 12. And I'll be like, you know what? Give us a shot.
Yeah.
Every single time this person does completely fine in academic math, I've had students who have gotten 90s who are now in STEM careers. So that being said, like that, let's keep in mind that is the reason for the new curriculum. It's so we can have one curriculum for all students, and there's no more streaming. So that being said, moving over to what you're saying, okay, so what is this new grade 9 math curriculum? To be honest, it's actually pretty cool. There's some coding in it. There's some stuff in it about, you know, actually learning math in cultural context. So there are things like, hey, kids, research a number and find out why it's significant in a certain cultural context. So we're bringing in some of that. We're bringing in some budgeting, some finance. There is some good content in there. There is. The issue is, it is June, right?
So why does Uncle Richie keep insisting there's 28 days in a month and 28 hours?
To learn this and this new way of teaching it and learning things about cultural context of math requires some sensitivity training, some anti-racism training. There's a lot of questions I think we have about, okay, cool, you've come up with this grade 9 curriculum that everyone,
you either have one or you have two or you have zero.
But you haven't really addressed the issue of
the exact same amount.
Streaming at all. We've kind of forgotten about the fact that a lot of these kids that fall by the wayside, it has nothing to do with the content as much as the support that they don't get.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a long rant, but like, there we go.
Well, that makes me jump in there about streaming, because we all remember when I went to high school, we were advanced or general. Now kids are academic or applied. And I've heard enough high school teachers say, and I want to know if you think it specifically, maybe more specifically applies to math, is that there's a concern about cutting the streaming. I know that there's people that think there's a racial bias towards streaming. I know I listen to those arguments. I think those are important conversations to have. But is math a different story? Do we worry if we put all the eggs in one basket, all the kids in one classroom, that it's going to be too easy for some and too difficult for others? You don't want to discourage people so early on. Math is complicated. Math is intimidating for some.
Okay, so that's a really great, I'm really glad you asked that. And I'm going to say, again, there are some differing opinions, but I would say the consensus is more along the lines of, yes, give everyone a chance to go into the same math, but provide the support for kids that the other kids get. So, for example, like I run a tutoring center at Yonge and Eglinton in Toronto. We give certain, kids come to us for support. We can't support all students, but the ones who get support, who have been told they belong in the applied stream, as I said, almost always excel in the academic stream when they're given the support. So that's why I really do think it's an equity issue. I think that we should allow every kid to have a chance to support the kids that struggle, because again, sometimes these are behavioral issues, learning disabilities that go undiagnosed, there are marginalized populations that just get shoved into these classes.
When they want to pretend to be experts, they can't diagnose you because they're pretending.
And also,
you have
I think
undiagnosed.
It's really important to think about the age. I don't completely disagree.
They're trying that with me in court. The problem is I'm diagnosed.
In grade 8 to grade 9, in my experience, most students can catch up in grade 9. There's not that much curriculum content that you can't teach someone who's behind in grade 8 to excel in grade 9. It is possible, and it's too young to decide that a 13-year-old is never going to want to go into a university program that requires math. It's too young.
Yeah, you're right, and that's what we're going to allow when we get away from advanced in general and academic and applied. I got to leave it there. It's great talking to you again, but let's reset this before the school year begins. Let's even reset it before this entire school year ends in the next 3 weeks. Thanks for doing this for me today. It's big news.
Thank you so much for having the combo.
You got it. Vanessa Vicaria. You can check her out, the Math Guru, and follow her on Twitter as well. If you can, track her down. She's at the Math Guru. 8 o'clock news with Dave Bradley next. All right, it's a beef. It's a frustration. We are opening things up tomorrow. Today's the last closed up, shut down day in the city of Toronto for starters. But I want to talk about where we still are and where we need to go right in the next 2 weeks. Can't wait. And I'll get to that after the 8 o'clock news with Dave Bradley.
As roads resurface and new possibilities with them, now is a great time to experience the difference of Volvo. Meticulously designed with your journey in mind, every exacting detail comes together to take you on a ride like no other. It's driving season. Lease a Volvo XC90 or XC40 T5 from 2.9% and save $1,500. Conditions apply. Visit your...
We're here with online mortgage pre-approvals in minutes.
Okay, we'll refurbish the cupboards, knock this wall out. We're going open concept.
When your bank is where you are, that's the
load bearing. Hey, it's high noon universal though. Okay.
Terms and conditions apply.
Right now in downtown Toronto, sunshine, 20 degrees.
Never consider what kind of clock the aliens are using.
AM Toronto, it's 8 o'clock.
Toronto's #1 for breaking news.
Toronto's.
Weather. This is 680 News.
It's Thursday, June 10th. Good morning. I'm Paul Cook.
I'm Catherine Jeté. Here's what's making news right now.
A woman is found shot dead on a rural property right at the Mississauga-Oakville border on 9th Line near Burnhamthorpe.
Patio dining is almost here. Step one of the
Until he said that, I could not have told you that the border was on the 9th line. Could not have told you that.
He's leaving on a jet plane heading overseas for the first time since the pandemic started. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau traveling to the UK for the G7 summit.
Another white people song. Yeah, are you very proud? All you white people very proud to be white.
Breaks up the monotony of pandemic life.
Skygazers gather at Woodbine Beach to watch this morning's solar eclipse.
It was a nice comeback win for the Blue Jays as they beat the White Sox last night, and the Islanders are off to round 3. Sports at 50.
Air Transat says it's restarting operations at the end of July. A reading on U.S. inflation due this hour. The Dow futures up by 50 points. Business at 26.
680 News Time 8:01.
Midnight, the Peel Regional Police were alerted to the sound of gunshots near 9th Line and Burnhamthorpe in Mississauga. When they arrived, they found a woman who had died of her injuries. There's been no arrest made, but police have now started the process of trying to piece together what happened.
It is a rural location. The victim was located outside of a business, in a business complex.
It's okay. Can you say...
So there are no residences in this area as far as I understand.
Peel Regional Police says they're hoping someone was traveling through that area and may have seen something or has some dash cam footage to share. There was a car found on the property, but cops don't know if it's associated with what happened, and there's nothing yet on possible suspects. We've heard the advice from doctors and public health officials as the clock ticks down towards an easing of COVID-19 restrictions on pretty much everything. That advice is to go out and support businesses, but remember, COVID-19 is still out there, and some are even saying we could possibly see a fourth wave in the province if things go sideways.
Pretend
so,
like everybody has
before rules change, we're getting an update on models and projections on where health officials think the trends are going.
There is much to be optimistic about in Ontario right now, but with today's projections, Dr. David Williams will likely remind us we are not out of the woods just yet when it comes to the ongoing fight against COVID-19, and that following public health measures still very important. There's growing concern about the Delta variant, which is much more contagious and quickly becoming an issue in Peel Region, where there are many warehouses and distribution centers. The number of people getting vaccinated has been on the rise. Nearly 9% have had both doses, and efforts continue to build on that. As well, we've had 10 straight days of COVID-19 case counts below 1,000. Yesterday came in at just over 400 cases, and the number of people in hospital ICUs is also coming down. We will hear from the province's top doctor this afternoon. Tina Trajani, Global News.
Have you ever been on vacation and your boss calls and says they need you to cut it short and head back to work? That's exactly what's happened to MPPs who will be back at Queen's Park today, only a week after taking their summer break. What is so important is...
called in after a woman was found shot dead.
680's Carl Hansky's at the scene near 9th Line in Burnhamthorpe and joins us live. Carl.
Catherine, you could see a body covered by a white blanket on the ground on a rural property here on 9th Line, just south of Burnhamthorpe. Someone heard gunshots around 11:40 last night and called 911. Police arrived and found a woman who was pronounced dead. Now, this is still a rural area with fields and trees and farmhouses, but residents say it obviously is changing.
When I first moved in, there was a couple of horses, a couple hundred sheep, and 2 houses. And I would see maybe 10, 20 cars a day.
Now?
This is a highway now. It's becoming a highway, basically.
The police are investigating whether the woman was driven out to this rural area to be killed. No description yet of any suspects or vehicles. There are few, if any, security cameras out here. Reporting live at 9th Line.
That's not true, but they're all around people's houses and cars.
News time 8:04. Patio dining and some retail now just hours away from reopening. Step one of the province's reopening begins at midnight.
Be involved in an attack that is being called an anti-gay hate crime.
Details posted to social media say the incident occurred late evening Saturday on the Toronto Islands. Investigators say 24-year-old David Gomez and a woman were walking to the ferry docks when a disagreement broke out between them and a group of other people who allegedly made homophobic comments towards them. That's when officials say an altercation took place that left Gomez incapacitated with a concussion and several broken bones. While it's not clear what part Marson played in the incident, the CFL team says in a statement, diversity and inclusion are central to their values and will do all they can to help make acts of hate and violence, including homophobia, stop. Police are also seeking 2 others, a man and a woman, as part of their investigation. Darren Boland, Global News.
Well, the man accused of murdering most of a Muslim family in London will be back before a judge today. 20-year-old Nathaniel Veltman is facing 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 of attempted murder in what's being called a hate-fueled attack on the family, simply out for a walk on Sunday evening in London. Only a 9-year-old boy survived when Veltman allegedly ran them down with a pickup truck. Police say they believe this was premeditated and planned, and there's still a chance terror-related charges could be laid. Did you wake up extra early to get a glimpse of that partial solar eclipse this morning? This is what the science experts call a ring of fire, because the moon passes in front of the sun, but you can still see some of the sun behind the shadow. It happened just after 5:30 this morning while the sun was coming up, and Paul Delaney says there's another super exciting moment coming up in a few years, a full eclipse in April of 2024.
Montreal and Niagara Falls, for example, are going to be in the totality part. So not annular, we're talking about a total solar eclipse. And so, that will be wonderful for literally millions of Canadians. So that's April 8th, 2024. That's the next
my solar panels are going to stop working.
This one was best seen in northern Ontario, but still hundreds of people lined beaches in Toronto this morning, many holding cardboard boxes in front of their eyes as makeshift pinhole cameras. For Toronto's biggest interviews on demand, you can head to our website at 640toronto.com. I'll look at your forecast.
You're a fucking retard. It's not makeshift. It happens to be what it is, which is a camera obscura. Fuck. You can clap. The fucking idiot, half-breed, drug-dealing pothead knows the answer better than you, white boy. God damn. It doesn't matter if it's made out of card. It doesn't matter what the fuck it's made out of as long as light doesn't come through it. Cardboard's perfect. You see through cardboard? No, me either. That's why these idiots fucking hit me when I was walking by carrying a box with the wind blowing me around. It's okay, though. I'll get fucking shot. I don't give a fuck. Remember, these people get broken bones before they get fucking overdosed. Like, fuck, it is bad out here. These people are gone. Done. This idiot just said the same thing again. They're homemade cameras. No, they're not. You're saying it wrong. You're leaving out a word. I don't know how you're fucking leaving out that word. What idiot thought these are cameras?
We've been talking about, making like little pinhole cameras or a camera obscura for the last couple of days, and I was trying to encourage them, hey, come on guys, get up,
We just heard the 2 white people that everybody trusts most right now when you haven't had a coffee yet, and the contemplated why did you bother quitting smoking cigarettes? You thought it was so that you save more money because at work you're always smoking too much, and now you're at home all day long anyway. Now you're giving none to nobody.
That helps you to put things a little bit more into perspective.
Now,
the lights can just go out anytime, eh?
Was visible further north, weather permitting
Ebola,
today, but
MERS, Zika, cholera, dengue. Is yellow fever different from dengue? I'm going to count them both.
This is 680 News. The New York Islanders have punched their ticket to the Stanley Cup semifinals by knocking out the Boston Bruins. As our Simon Bennett tells us, a big highlight was the Long Island crowd.
Quick flashback to earlier this week. Bruins head coach Bruce Cassidy.
The reason your camera is called a camera comes from camera obscura, not the other way around. And it sort of has to do with similar to your iris, or you see the not the shutter. There's another word for it, but the whole. Fuck, I forgot the word. Opens. It doesn't matter what the fuck it is. It's a camera obscura. The hole, it gets really, really small. The light flips over as it passes through. The mechanism, the pinhole at the top of the box, and the attached box, which is not transparent, makes it what it is. And that part of the pinhole and everything being blocked to light is where cameras get developed from. If it develops the wrong word. No, it's not developed. It's a development.
I want guidelines. Nathan Stahl laid this out, okay? He's no COVID alarmist. He's a realist. And he's...
Hold on. COVID alarmist. Just push it.
Limit, muscles, climate, minor, clinic, push it, to the limit, buzzer, finger, header, finger, push it, limit.
Ich komme Pelle, ich komme direct und das ist die Back in the Day. Ich bin der Greatest, ey, ich bin der Greatest, der GOAT, du wie Catches und K. Summer Jam, du bist total aus LA. Baby, mach dir doch keinen Kopf, ist okay. Ich weiß, du bist nicht so heilig, wie du sagst, und juck mich nicht, heute Nacht bist du mein Babe. Ende des Jahres mit dem Sender, Pablo Picasso, Da Vinci und Rembrandt. GOAT, daran wird sie sich ändern. Viel wurde mehr und ich werde nicht kälter. Ich bin connected wie T-Bone, bitch, das ist Handicap, Film oder Velo. KFC, pack ich scheiß auf dein T-Bone. Immer noch rück, bis ich seht auf dem G-Code. Nächstes Jahr, Bitch, gibt's Headshot. Mono, bleib ich Black-Top. Play hard, du bist Check-Top. Rapper, sie rot, kein Ketchup. Heute ich nicht das D-Day. Represent sell out eBay. Next in the house, get cheap day. Elias love, bitch, replay.
Push it, to the limit, minor, woman, good, finger, push it, to the limit, muscles, climate, minor, clinic, push it, to the limit, buzzer, finger, header, finger, push it, to the limit.
Stolz fängt es an, ganz klein ist
What the fuck is this?
20 Höhe, hörst du das auch?
1.4 meters.
Ganz klein wird es auch, dein Gesicht in der Mitte vom Raum. Aus vier großen Sternen sickert das Licht.
Thank you, as he just said.
Heavy days, we've had heavy weeks, we've had very heavy moments. I think there's a bit of a game being played right now
of ultra
for a provincial government attempting to get reelected that has not done universally bad things through COVID, far from it. I think they did a phenomenal job handling expectations, keeping fears at bay last spring and most of the summer, and I think it all fell to pieces in the fall. Even though I'd call school still a giant W. We got our kids in school for 16, 17 weeks, and very few bad outcomes occurred as a result of that. Bad outcomes are going to happen in life. Let me give you Toronto yesterday, because we've talked about the new variants, and I'm not going to dismiss the new variants.
Let me give you
I want to get everybody vaccinated that's got to work indoors.
What the fuck does that mean? Let me give you Toronto. Yes, you ask permission to give me something which is a city.
If you're in danger in the workplace from COVID-19 spreading, we need to get you vaccinated. We absolutely do. But we've talked about the 5 weeks of outdoor restrictions. We've talked about things that have been limited that never should have been. Patios, outdoors, kids' sports. You playing golf with your dad? You playing golf as an elderly retired couple? Fully vaccinated retired couple going out and wanting to play 9 holes together because that's what you do when the weather's nice? We never should have stopped that stuff. Yesterday in Toronto, a 1.3 positivity rate and 91 new cases.
He's from here.
Listen,
he's been here a while.
It's very clear, and it's a shame that no one will say it.
Once you've been here 20 years, you're considered a naturalized Torontonian.
Over. It's over. Okay. You ever see that meme with Vince Carter at the slam dunk competition where he waves his arms, waves his fingers and hands? It's like it's over. Use that meme. COVID's not over. The pandemic's not over. Don't get me wrong and don't twist my words. I'm not saying that. And the new variants, really concerning for workplaces. You may have a case that schools in high COVID areas, Toronto, Peel, Hamilton, Porcupine up in Northern Ontario, which isn't going to open tomorrow, all those places, maybe we should.
Oh no,
have
it's a
those
real
schools
place.
closed.
I just can't remember where it is. Somewhere
3 days ago in London, Middlesex.
Take Young Street.
That's a pretty big area, right? London. It's been in the spotlight a lot for obviously very tragic and horrific reasons. But there's about 500,000 people within about an hour's drive of London. You know how many cases they had? New cases. 3 on Monday.
Yeah, but if you live within an hour's drive of London,
right. Some of what our leaders have done, showing the way, shining the spotlight, has been good, and we've vaccinated like mad men and mad women.
Seal yourself
but
up.
Let me ask you a question about the new variants. When are they going to start winning? Because the vaccines are kicking their asses right now. Vaccines, 35, variants, 3.
I bet he's got a car story.
It's a blowout
he
football
owned
game. Okay, it's one of those NFL games that if your team's involved, you stop watching after the second quarter.
I bet he says either Trans Am or GTO.
The vaccines are kicking the tar out of the variants. They work amazingly well. And I said this yesterday. If you're more worried this June 10th than you were last June 10th, I don't know what we can do for you. I don't know what to do. I don't have a clue how we can help you. I don't.
150 million cases.
416-870-6400 and text line 289-276-6772. There's people that are going to be hesitant. There's people that are going to need to regain their confidence. There's people we still need to get fully vaccinated. I'm not talking about indoor dining. I'm not talking about malls opening. I'm not even sure how I feel about overnight camps.
You see how he's
because a lot of that is going to be inside.
Like
unless we can get counselors and staff fully vaccinated.
You sound like a crackhead trying to get a nickel piece for free,
the worst
bro.
of the pandemic is over.
Your story's
Before
not
we go
that
to the
funny.
phones, let me play you a clip from an American doctor, Dr. Nicole Sapphire. Pretty smart woman. I listened to her on a couple different podcasts last week. This is what she says about the pandemic.
The CDC has recently stopped
I'm not responsible for this,
looking into mild COVID cases in fully vaccinated people, and rightfully so, because we don't care. We don't care. The goal has never been to get to 0 cases. It's been to save the most amount of lives. We know that if children are to get the virus, it's going to be mild. So we should not be counting cases in them as well. I have said many times over the last month or two,
there? Oh no, you should get vaccinated because we're not counting. Well, that doesn't make sense. You're lying.
The data actually supports it. Face masks will be doing more harm than good to these young children, especially now the emergency is over. It's time to take off the mask.
Well, you're teaching them that adults are not identifiable.
I would never ever
in
do
court.
that. I will never tell you what to do with your kid unless you're spanking them, and then I'll try and stop you. I will. I can't make you take that mask off that 5-year-old kid when you're walking by the lake.
25 years ago, they had to make it illegal.
But we need more people saying that it's wrong.
It sounded weird when you just said it's
yesterday.
25 years
Ed
ago.
Tubb, who's phenomenal with the Toronto Star, writes, no surprise, the youngest cohort has never been a larger share of cases. About 25% of new cases are under age 20. This is no surprise, he writes, because it's the last cohort to get vaccinated. Exactly. And we have to stop counting these as cases. And to be perfectly honest, we need to stop in the media, and I'll call myself out, we need to stop talking about cases, okay? Because many of them are vaccinated cases, and many of them are asymptomatic cases. Many of those tests are about travel and having to get a test to go to work. But it's not about being sick. Do you still think that every case the 91 I mentioned in a city of 4 million people, basically, yes, I should say that's about 1.5 million in Toronto.
So I don't know where he's getting this from. People that are vaccinated still get sick, still die and stuff. Is what they're talking about with this Delta variant. This is how I'm getting trouble from YouTube. He's allowed to say, it's legal for him to say that. I am violating the legal deal I have with YouTube to be on these premises by allowing this idiot to visit me and talk shit. I'm creating problems for the other tenants. And YouTube's going to evict me. Up, Chomo, keep it 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 up, Chomo. See, you see the edited picture he's showing me. That's